How you doing, folks? This is JR. I've been in the fence business for many, many years, about 3 decades. And of course, when you get toward the winter, business really slows down. And one year back in 1996, just when the internet was starting to roll pretty well, I figured I'd try something new. I'm an entrepreneur by my making. My DNA proclaims that I must try weird things at different times. So this was like going into Thanksgiving back in 1996. And I said, I've got to do something to keep myself busy because I just can't stand, November, December, January, February with just barely getting by. Though we did well in the fence business the other 8 months, those 4 months were critical that I just can't stand to be that quiet. So anyway, I said, I'm going to use the internet and see how things are moving. Everybody was really proclaiming that it was the way to go to do online sales, and I was a little confused about that. I said, well, I'm just going to use common sense. And so what I did, now what I want to tell you in this video is what I did, where I started and where I ended up in a short period of time. And I'm not going to tell you exactly where I went or exactly what I sold or where I bought it or how I shipped it or necessarily all that. All the critical points to that, if you're interested and serious, I'm going to ask you to send me $5. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But I made a pile of money back when very few people had even heard about the internet. So anyway, this was like the first week of November. And I said I want to get this thing ready to launch by the, I don't know, 7th or 10th of November. Give me a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving. And so first I said I'm going to go online and find out what the hottest items are that I could sell. And I wanted to see a list of the 10 hottest items coming up for Christmas. And a lot of things had to make sense. Let's just say that it was Rolex watches were in the top 10, Mercedes were up in the top 10, and some electronic kids toy and some other things. So, 7 or 8 or 9 of them really, really didn't fit, with me being able to obtain the item, getting it shipped to the buyers, and making a simple profit. So of all the things that came out, I decided to go with an electronics device. Back then they were called Palm Pilots. You probably remember those. They were really, really popular, and it seemed to be in the top 10, and it was a fairly affordable product. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I selected that product, and then I said, well, I have to have a platform to sell it from, so I went to a particular online mall. The name of that mall I'll tell you if you want to pay for the admission price. So anyway, I went into this store. It was very easy to get set up, get my email, password, da da da. Had to have they did the credit card processing, so I had to have a business bank account for them to put the money in it, and all those good things. So anyway, it was fairly easy, and I don't remember. I think I went down, maybe bought a Palm Pilot, and took several pictures of it, or maybe I've copied one off the internet. So I had a fair amount of competition even back then. This has been 20 years ago. But out of, let's say there were 10, 12, 15 people that were selling Palm Pilots, I've always been a price guy, Why pay $20 for something when it's available right around the corner for $14.95? I don't know. I can't handle it. I'll hunt it down till I find a better price. So I wanted to be the lowest price guy. Now you have to understand, to keep things simple, I paid retail for these Palm Pilots through a particular vendor who is no longer in business. They were very big 20 years ago in the electronics industry worldwide. And I haven't kept up with them. I don't know why they went out of business or if they sold off to somebody. Can't even think of the name of them right now. But they were big, and they had a good reputation. So I talked with them and found out the lowest prices that I could possibly get. They weren't budging. They were locked in. So I just had to shop around and see wherever their particular stores were, and they sold direct from their factory out to whoever wanted to buy it. So I was merely a middleman, and I found their prices. Then I went to another place I just happened upon, and it was a Rebate Mall. So if I go into that Rebate Mall, anything that I buy from any of the stores in that Rebate Mall, I would get 5% cash back. Hopefully, I had never dealt with them, and their reputation seemed to be okay. So I said it's worth a try. So there's another 5%. When I priced my Palm Pilots, I priced it, a nickel, a dime, penny, whatever it was, lower than the lowest guy. And you could see, where they were going to be, where they had to be, whatever it was they were paying for these things. So I've always claimed that you make your money when you buy something, not when you sell it. So you have to really work hard at that. So between the Rebate Mall and this particular store, and I think their name will come back to me here in a minute. I almost thought of it. But anyway, I went to this Rebate Mall, and lo and behold, this particular store was in there, which made sense. They were very aggressive, and they're going to be where the people were and the traffic were. So here I am inside this internet mall for people to come and buy my products, the lowest price there was. Back then, I made my money on freight. I don't recall, how much more I picked up on freight, but it was probably $7, $10, $15 more. Back then, people didn't pay a lot of attention to freight. They realized it had to be shipped. They just swallowed it. Only had one person out of dozens that wanted to ship it her way on her freight company. I said, no, I'm just not set up to do that, so I didn't do that. And that's where I made my money. Now everybody on the internet does that. If you'll notice, products sell on TV, they say, buy one, get one free, as long as you do separate shipping and handling. Well, that's where the money is. It took them 20 years to catch up to it, but that's what I did, and I made good money with it. So one thing leads to the other. Bottom line is I ended up selling more than my credit card company wanted to handle for me in the processing because I was new with them. Hold on just a minute. So I think that if I remember correctly, and I don't have all the records, it's 2 decades ago that this happened, but I sold, even with them stopping me and getting me in trouble with a lot of my customers, I still generated, no, I told you totally wrong. I was thinking of something else. I started immediately after Thanksgiving. So let's call it the 27th, 28th, whatever. But I had basically 3 weeks to make this thing happen before Christmas. So I launched immediately after the holiday and set the store up, put the Palm Pilot up there, and yeah, automatically here come the orders. It was like 1 a night, 3 a night, 4 a night, 5 a night, 2 one night, nothing one night, 3 the next night, kept going. So anyway, I far exceeded the expectations. And they were, selling, it seemed like for $100 and something back then. And I don't recall, I made a fair profit. I was trying to do it on volume because this was being handled by another company. Like I said, I was paying retail to this particular electronic outlet, and they handled all the shipping and returns and chargebacks, foul-ups, whatever. But I had to, of course, run my customers' credit cards and put the money in my bank, take that money, send it to the people I'm buying it from. They would process it, ship it out, and I never had any returns to deal with myself. So it worked out really smoothly. It doesn't sound like much, but handling all the credit cards and all the ways that I handled, it's not like I had a garage full of Palm Pilots and I had a little guy out there helping me package them up and just stamp the address where they're going, collect money, and see. It was a lot more involved because I had these other companies involved in reports for the rebate company that I had to make sure everything was in focus with what they required to operate through their mall. But it all worked out quite well. And anyway, I even ended up somehow with the true story. I'm telling you, I have no reason to lie. I had a guy that for sure sent me $20,000. I mean, boom, it just showed up in my account one morning. Never had a phone call, email, anything. And it was a company or individual down in Mexico City, Mexico. Just sent $20,000. This was like the second week into this thing, early December. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I said, I can't do that. I have to sell one at a time. I maybe I could have sold two or three to one customer, but that was like it. And he wanted, at my price, he wanted all that he could get, and he was going to load them up in one barrel and keep his freight down, and thought he had it going on. So anyway, I couldn't do that. I had to send his 20,000 back. Never did talk to him. He accepted my apology for not being able to fulfill the order, but just amazing. I had a guy also. I don't know why he picked me or what happened, but I ended up selling him some kind of a fancy big Apple computer that was, seemed like it was 2,000 back then, 2,500. I don't know. I really didn't have time to fool with him because he's in Tokyo. But eventually, and I kept putting it off, I did get it out to him, and he was happy with it. And that made a fairly nice chunk of change. But anyway, I say all that to say this. Bottom line, started after Thanksgiving. I shut it down, the 23rd December, whatever. Had a good three and a half weeks to get this thing done. I was cut off about 75% into my program by the credit card company. They would take no more credit cards. I don't remember. Very stressful. We had to do all this at night after we worked the fence company. It was very stressful, but I'm here to tell you, 20 years ago, we put $30,000 plus in our pocket profit-wise. And out of the blue, sometime in January, comes in a big check for multiplied thousands of dollars. I don't remember if it was $5, $6, $7, $8,000 from the Rebate Mall. I about fell out of my chair. I really didn't expect I'd ever get any money out of them. So we're pushing almost $40,000. Could have probably done $75,000 20 years ago, selling $100 and something item through somebody else. I never had the first. I had a lady that even ordered two Palm Pilots. No, they weren't even Palm Pilots. It was something fancier. She wanted to know if I could get it. I found them. I took her money. She had to verify something, this, that, and the other. She couldn't make her mind up what she really wanted. I called her back. I said, look, you've got over $1,000 sitting up here. What is it that you want so I can get them shipped? She literally giggled and laughed and just acted silly and says, oh, don't worry about it. I'll get back to you. Hey, I don't know if we gave her her money back or what, but it just sat there. I mean, strange things happen in business, but this blew my mind. It's like she just hit the lottery and didn't have time to keep up with all the purchases she was making online. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It was amazing. It was very stressful. Like I said, we were beat to death once Christmas came and trying to get through this. It doesn't sound like there'd be that much to do, but it got a little wild, and we had so much stress with the people we're trying to buy from, and the credit card company fighting us, wanting to get into a lawsuit, and oh man, plus a full-time job my wife and I had running the fence company. But I'm just saying, it is there, and I'll tell you exactly what I did, and I stand up behind it. This is 20 years ago. I'll never forget. If you can go back, they used to have a site where you could look at people's websites from many, many years back, and it was Mercedes-Benz. If you can go back and look at what their website was in 1996, you will fall out of your chair laughing. It was so pathetic. It looked like it was done by kindergartners. It was in black and white. Nothing moved. Nothing fit. Unbelievable, ugly photography. I wish to God I had a picture of that, but you can go back and look at these old vintage films, early days. There's probably still a company out there that has it on there. It shows the, subsequent websites people have built from way back when they started and how they've improved and all that goes with it. But hey, this was in the heydays of the internet, and I'll be glad to tell you exactly where I went, who I went through. Boy, oh boy, you can make a lot of money. 20 years ago, nobody was supposed to be on the internet, and I made that kind of money. So anyway, I will leave the information below the video if you're interested. I'll send you a receipt. Money request for $5 to PayPal. Big deal. You will make a pile of money. I'd love to get a percentage of what you're going to make. Anybody that's got a little hustle, hey, I'll help you and guide you. I love to see people prosper. I'm retired now. I'm JR, and thanks for watching. God bless you. Bye-bye.